They know that if you give me your afternoon, I will give you hard facts.
Well done, Sandra, on all you do, going beyond the headlines and focusing on the facts.
I am Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I am Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts. First hard fact of the day, $520 million. That's how much the Africa Development Bank is about to pump into agriculture in Nigeria. That money will be invested in specialized processing zones. Basically, these are areas where crops can be processed into other products for export. Akinwumi Adesina is, of course, the AFDB president, and he met with President Bola Tinubu after the two-day summit in Paris, which they both attended. That summit was titled A New Global Financing Pact. By the way, Tinubu was scheduled to speak on a panel at the summit, but he seems to have left early for a private visit in the UK. Which brings me to our second hard fact of the day, 125. 125 more Nigerians have been brought home from Sudan. It's great news. Add them to the over 2,500 Nigerians that returned last month. NEMA says that it's still doing its best to trace and relocate the remaining Nigerians from the conflict zone. I've got a third hard fact for you. Nkechinyere Ume is the highest scoring UTME candidate. Congratulations to her. She scored a 360 out of 400. 90%. Really impressive. Especially at a time where universities are bringing the cutoff down to 140 or 35%. We're going to talk more about that on the big weekend today. But congratulations to Nkechinyere for her excellence on the UTME exam. I've got a fourth hard fact. 5 Nigerian students have received the Excellent International Students Award from Southwest University, China. They are Ifeoma Amuche, Chioma Chukwuemeka, Oraka Chiamaka, Akpata Johnson, and Chinedu Wilson. Congratulations to all of them. Thank you for flying Nigeria's flag so impressively abroad. Lagos, I don't know if you know what it means for 5 Nigerian students to be the best foreign students at a Chinese university. Like, let that sink in. It's a Chinese university. Our people are brilliant. And I've got a fifth hard fact. 2 Lagos universities are in the top 3 most demanded universities nationwide for UTME candidates. 2 Lagos universities. Unilag is number 2 and LASU is number 3 behind Uniloring. So congratulations to our federal and state university for attracting the best brains in Nigeria. And yes, I've got a 6th hard fact. There's so much going on and I couldn't tell you all these stories on the big weekend, so they're hard facts, right? 130, that's how many new vehicles the Federal Road Safety Commission just launched. They consist of 97 patrol vehicles, 10 heavy-duty tow trucks, 15 flatbed tow trucks, 5 ambulances, 1 staff bus, as well as 2 coaster buses. Now, this may sound like a big number, but Lagos, let's put that in the context of the country's size. 97 divided by 37 is 2.6. So if the FRSC allocates these patrol cars equally among the states and the FCT, most states will get less than 3 each. If you remember that we have 774 local government areas, then this comes to 1 patrol car for every 8 local government areas. So, is it a lot? You tell me. Now, of course, FRC already has a fleet of patrol cars, but they themselves will tell you that they simply don't have close to enough. And as you can see, it's going to take a lot of these kinds of vehicles for them to build up the capacity that they actually need so that our roads can be safe. But congratulations to them and to you. 1 million Lagosians cannot be wrong. Thanks for tuning in to Hard Facts. I've got a great show for you. Starting with the big weekend. Let's talk about Hadiza Usman's comments about subsidy removal. Let's talk about the CBN ordering banks to get customers' social media handles. Then let's talk about the new UTME minimum score. And then let's talk about the IGP creating yet another rapid response unit. On Madam Landlord today, let's talk about that building that was demolished in Alaba International Market. And on the big hard fact, let's talk about how placentas are handled after childbirth. It's a conversation we started last week, a very interesting conversation, might I add. So let's continue it today at 5 o'clock. As usual, we'll have news updates at the top of the hour every hour before I hand you over to the newsroom for the newsroom. But I am Sandra Ezekwesili, Lagos, and these are your hard facts.
The big weekend.
Should Tinubu and Shetima have convened the NEC by now over subsidy removal? Should they have convened NEC by now over subsidy removal? Why does the CBN need bank customers' social media handles? Is 35% too low a UTME score for university admission? And should yet another quick response squad be the police's answer to violent crime? It was a big weekend, Lagos. Let's talk. Hadiza Usman said that the federal government will announce mitigants for subsidy removal soon, but only after the National Economic Council meets. Usman is Bola Tinubu's special advisor on policy coordination, and she gave a TV interview over the weekend. During that interview, here's what she said.
Okay, so while they are talking, discussing, and thinking of what to do to mitigate the impact, for how long do you think that Nigerians should suffer while they're waiting? I don't.
Well, I'm not sure about it's suffering. Like, I don't consider it suffering.
It is suffering.
I consider it the reality of what we are in Nigeria.
You don't
it's
think Nigerians are suffering as a
Nigerians
result
would
of the policy?
suffer, but that policy is the reality of what we are. We'll be living in a pipe dream, thinking that it makes sense for us to have fuel at a certain price, which is not the actual cost.
Yeah.
So we have been subsidizing other countries. We have seen that the so-called volume of consumption has tremendously dropped.
Well, how is that the fault of the masses?
No, the fault of them is not about it's not about fault. It's about understanding the reality. Your country produces this and buys this at so amount. So you need to know that is the reality. Your government cannot continue subsidizing, claiming to be subsidizing you when it's actually not subsidizing you. So the perception that you're being subsidized is actually even wrong.
They were subsidizing the masses.
Yeah, no. So that
because
is why
if you were buying fuel
so that is
at
why
185,
so that is why
it's different from
the
at
government
585.
absolutely. That's why the government is providing mitigants. So the issue of the subsidy,
where are they?
the mitigants would come. So it's more like, when would Economic Council sit and bring it up? But the fact that differential in cost of petroleum products for Nigerians is this is the reality of petroleum product for us. So we need to accept it for what it is and look at the mitigants. At what point will the mitigants be available to Nigerians? That is what we should do. Focus on that, the timing, and see how effective it is.
If it turns out that the majority of Nigerians will not be able to cope, because there are 130 million poor people, multi-dimensional poor people already.
Will not be
Many
able to
can't just afford it.
Well,
what will be your advice
so the issue
when
is not
you go
about
into cabinet?
Many cannot afford it. There are many things many people cannot afford. So people cannot afford to have 5 cars. People cannot afford to have 3 cars.
I'm not talking about those who
I'm saying that people cannot
cars.
randomly get 1 million and buy a Golf and just be going on the road.
So I'm not talking about such people.
So that would cascade down to the people you're talking about. A lady selling akara, the price of akara would go up. Yes. So but what I mean is that cost that the lady that is selling cascade down to the people you're talking about. A lady selling akara, the price of akara would go up. Yes. So but what I mean is that cost that the lady that is selling akara has an attendant. So she would also sell her akara at a higher rate.
It sounds to me like your message would be that you just have to learn to cope.
No. The mitigants will be provided. Learn to cope is the reality. We would learn to cope, and mitigants will be provided through the National Economic Council. So, but the idea that some people, people are going to suffer, so we keep the subsidy, no. Subsidy has to go.
But there's already...
And then the mitigants need to be done in a timely manner so that it's brought down.
So that's Hadiza Usman's interpretation of the government's position. I want to know your thoughts, Lagos. 0700-993-993-993 0700-993-993 01465-7190. Now let me give you some context before I come to the phone lines. The members of the NEC are the 36 governors, the CBN governor, the vice president who chairs it. Currently, NEC meets monthly, but the president can call for an emergency meeting because NEC is an advisory committee. It cannot pass policy. It just advises the president. That's what NEC does. So Usman is saying that NEC has to meet and advise Bola Tinubu on what mitigants he should put in place to cushion the poorest Nigerians. But here's the thing, Lagos, the NEC met last month. NEC met on the 15th of June. That was the first meeting under Tinubu and Shetima. It was also 17 days after Tinubu announced subsidy is gone at Eagle Square. So should the National Executive Council at that, National Economic Council at that meeting, should NEC have given the president this advice about how to cushion subsidy? Was there a need for NEC to wait for its next meeting, which will not be until the middle of next month? Right now, Lagos, it's been 11 days since that NEC meeting. That's 28 days since subsidy is gone on May 29th. Should Nigerians have to wait until the middle of July for NEC to meet again? Or should Bola Tinubu, Kashim Shetima, and the governors show some urgency and convene NEC immediately? 0700-993-993-993 01465-7190. Beyond that, what are your thoughts on Hadiza Bala Usman's responses? Like I said, she is the president's special advisor on policy coordination, and she gave an interview on TV. And just in case you didn't catch what she said, let me play it for you one more time.
Okay, so while they are talking, discussing, and thinking of what to do to mitigate the impact, for how long do you think that Nigerians should suffer while they are waiting?
I'm not sure about it suffering. Like I don't consider it suffering.
It is suffering.
I consider it the reality of what we are in Nigeria.
You don't think that Nigerians are suffering as a
Nigerians
result
would
of the policy?
suffer, but that policy is the reality of what we are. We'll be living in a pipe dream, thinking that it makes sense for us to have fuel at a certain price, which is not the actual cost.
Yeah.
So we have been subsidizing other countries. We have seen that the so-called volume of consumption has tremendously dropped.
Well, how is that the fault of the masses?
No, the fault of them is not about it's not about fault. It's about understanding the reality. Your country produces this and buys this at so amount. So you need to know that is the reality. Your government cannot continue subsidizing, claiming to be subsidizing you when it's actually not subsidizing you. So the perception that you're being subsidized is actually even wrong.
They were subsidizing the masses.
Yeah, no. So that
because
is why
if you were buying fuel
so that is why. So that is why
it's different from
the
at
government.
585.
Absolutely, that's why the government is providing mitigants. So the issue of the subsidy,
where are they?
the mitigants would come. So it's more like, when would economic council sit and bring it up? But the fact that differential in cost of petroleum products for Nigerians this is the reality of petroleum product for us. So we need to accept it for what it is and look at the mitigants. At what point will the mitigants be available to Nigerians? That is what we should do. Focus on that, the timing, and see how effective it is.
If it turns out that the majority of Nigerians will not be able to cope because there are 130 million poor people, multi-dimensional poor people already.
Will not be
Many
able to
can't just afford it.
Well,
what will be your advice
so the issue
when
is not
you
about
go to cabinet?
Many cannot afford it. There are many things many people cannot afford. So people cannot afford to have 5 cars. People cannot afford to have 3 cars.
I'm not talking about
no,
those who
I'm saying that
who
people
have cars.
cannot randomly get 1 million and buy a Golf and just be going on the road.
So I'm not talking
No,
about
no,
such
I'm talking.
people.
So that would cascade down to the people you're talking about. A lady selling akara, the price of akara would go up. Yes. So, but what I mean is that cost that the lady that is selling cascade down to the people you're talking about. A lady selling akara, the price of akara would go up. Yes. So, but what I mean is that cost that the lady that is selling akara has an attendant. So she would also sell her akara at a higher rate.
It sounds to me like your message would be that you just have to learn to cope.
No. The mitigants will be provided. Learn to cope is the reality. We would learn to cope, and mitigants will be provided through the National Economic Council. So, but the idea
0700-993-993 01-465-7190. Like I said, the council has met. It met on the 15th of June, and the next meeting will be in the middle of July. Should you have to wait until then? Or should the council be showing some urgency? Like I said, the members of NEC are the 36 governors, the CBN governor, the vice president who chairs it, and it meets monthly. But the president can call on an emergency meeting. NEC is an advisory committee. It cannot pass policy. It just advises the president. Usman is saying NEC has to meet, advise Bola Tinubu on what mitigants he should put in place to cushion the poorest Nigerians. 0700-993-993 01-465-7190. Hello, thanks for calling us.
Hello, Sandra.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Onyema, calling from Pesak.
Welcome. Talk to me.
Sandra, I think I just listened to what you played, and I am sorry, but I think we are not living in reality. I think it's clear that our leaders don't have the people in mind. Because if the president can do what he did, and then someone is coming to say that the masses, that it will cascade down and we have to wait for the next meeting. Like you said, why can't they call an emergency meeting? If this is really an issue for the masses, for the people you claim to lead, then why won't you put more effort to make sure you provide those mitigants, to make sure that the people are palliated? Because, I mean, look at it. Even when the person was interviewed, even when the interviewer was saying you have the price has moved from 185 to 5, and you say that it's not an issue. That's how is that not an issue for the masses? So either the gap is so wide between the rich and the poor, and the people leading us and the masses, that they don't seem to understand what the people on the streets are facing, or they are the ones living in pipe dreams. They are the ones not living in reality in what is going on in the country right now. Because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. I don't know if you know what I'm trying to say.
I understand what you're saying.
Because so many people are suffering. So many people, it's hitting so many people hard. It's hitting businesses hard. It's hitting, I mean, I was listening to Joy's show before yours, and she was talking, and a manufacturer called and was talking about the effect of the forest and all of that, and how it's going to cascade down to the masses. It is clearly going to be a big deal on all. Nigeria already, I think 130 billion people are living below the, or these policies are not going to affect them. Shouldn't the government...
Oh,
Thank you for calling, sir.
My name is Faralifa.
Faralifa, welcome. Talk to me.
Taking a cue from the last caller, the government does not think about the welfare of the people, which is supposed to be one of its major responsibilities. But it doesn't. Adiza, look at the way Adiza was talking, unempathetically. She doesn't care. She doesn't feel what the people are feeling. And these are the people advising the government, advising the president. Of all the members of the NEC, who feels the pinch of what has happened? Is it the governors? Or is it the whoever amongst them? Nobody. Or is it the vice president? They don't know what the people are suffering. They just sit down in their cozy offices and make policies that will bring the government money. The government does not want to work. The government does not want to bring Ajaokuta into being. It does not want to bring the tire companies into being. The government does not want to bring the coal corporation into being. The government does not want to bring the tin corporation into being. The government wants to just task people. Now we are hearing about a 40% increase in custom duties for cars that are coming in. The government is just about tax. How to get money to waste. I wish they would even say when they get this money, they will spend it. They will buy more cars for themselves, renovate their offices, build more government houses. Just two things that the government is for the people that occupy these government offices, positions. And it's very unfortunate.
Thank you very much for calling, Warlaifa. We have so many messages on WhatsApp. We'll come back and take a look at some of them. If you just tuned in, we started with our first story. The president's special advisor on policy coordination gave an interview where she says the federal government will announce mitigants for subsidy removal soon, but only after the National Economic Council meets. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is the big weekend on Hard Facts. It's 3:26 right now. We'll take a break. When we come back, let's keep talking.
Let them come and kill me. I can never take it.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
When you're getting stressed and you need to relax, take Supramalt Plus. When your appetite is gone and you need to get it back, take Supramalt Plus. Supramalt Plus, multivitamin to take every day.
Also available as Supramalt capsules for energy and vitality. Get yours today in a pharmacy near you. Supramalt, your reliable multivitamin.
Sincerely, I don't want to wait till I graduate from this school before I think of what to do with my life. Exactly. I am going to seriously work on my music skills. Let me use my talent well, I beg. I would like to be a radio presenter, but I don't know how to go about it. But why is Simi so quiet today?
Sorry, Liz. I'm taking this interesting course on how to become a professional scriptwriter. You can also learn how to become a radio presenter on Wazobia Academy.
Wazobia Academy?
Yes, Wazobia Academy provides accessible and affordable online training in filmmaking, music business, fashion, radio hosting, and lots more. You also stand a chance to be selected for internship in leading production companies, radio stations, music, and fashion studios for hands-on experience. It's easy. Simply log on to www.wazobiaacademy.com or call 0908-826-5038 for more details.
Wazobia Academy. Learn and lead.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is the big weekend, and before the break, I played an interview excerpt for you from the president's advisor on policy coordination. And here's what she said about subsidy removal and easing your suffering as a result of the subsidy removal.
Okay, so while they are talking, discussing, and thinking of what to do to mitigate the impact, for how long do you think that Nigerians should suffer while they are waiting?
Well, I'm not sure about it's suffering. Like I don't consider it suffering.
It is suffering.
I consider it the reality of what we are in Nigeria.
You don't
it's
think
like
that Nigerians are suffering
Nigerians
as a result
would
of the policy?
suffer, but that policy is the reality of what we are. We'll be living in a pipe dream, thinking that it makes sense for us to have fuel at a certain price, which is not the actual cost.
Yeah.
So we have been subsidizing other countries. We have seen that the so-called volume of consumption has tremendously dropped.
Well, how is that the fault of the masses?
No, the fault of them is not about it's not about fault. It's about understanding the reality. Your country produces this and buys this at so amount. So you need to know that is the reality. Your government cannot continue subsidizing, claiming to be subsidizing you when it's actually not subsidizing you. So the perception that you're being subsidized is actually even wrong.
They were subsidizing the mass.
Mitigants would come. So when would economic councils bring? But the fact that there is a petroleum product for us. So we need to accept it for what it is and look at the mitigants. At what point will the mitigants be available to Nigerians? That is what we should do. Focus on that, the timing, and see how effective it is.
If it turns out that the majority of Nigerians will not be able to cope because there are 130 million poor people, multi-dimensional poor people already.
Will not be
Many can't just afford it. Well, what will be your advice
so the issue
when
is
you
not
go
about
into cabinet?
Many cannot afford it. There are many things many people cannot afford. So people cannot afford to have 5 cars. People cannot afford to have 3 cars.
I'm not talking about
no,
those
I'm saying that
who
people
have
cannot
cars.
randomly get 1 million and buy a Golf and just be going on the road.
So I'm not talking about
No,
such
I'm talking.
people.
So that would cascade down to the people you're talking about. A lady selling akara, the price of akara would go up. Yes. So, but what I mean is that cost that the lady that is selling cascade down to the people you're talking about. A lady selling akara, the price of akara would go up. Yes. So, but what I mean is that cost that the lady that is selling akara has an attendant. So she would also sell her akara at a higher rate.
It sounds to me like your message would be that you just have to learn to cope.
No. The mitigants will be provided. Learn to cope is the reality. We would learn to cope, and mitigants will be provided through the National Economic Council. So, but the idea that some people, people are going to suffer, so we keep the subsidy, no. Subsidy has to go.
But there's already...
And then the mitigants need to be done.
All right, 99.3, hello. Thanks for calling us.
Hey, Sandra Ezekwesili.
Hi, how are you?
I greet you.
I greet you too, sir.
What is the level? What is the reality on that? That's what I say. And if you want to bring any palliative, anything to cushion the effects of this suffering we are in now, or from this removal of subsidy we are in now, let it be something that is dignified, not something that is like palliatives that make people a beggarly policy or make us look like beggars in our country. Bring out a dignified policy that will make us, that will cushion the effects of the subsidy you have removed, that will make us look like people that are of this country. We are not slaves in this country. So for me, the reality should be that let us know what the government, let them cut costs of governance, all of them. Cost of salaries, senators, governors, everybody. That is when we will know that in the reality of what is on ground now.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. 99.3, hello. Hello.
Hello, Sandra.
Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name, ma'am?
Hello?
I can hear you. What's your name, ma'am?
Okay.
Yes.
Sandra.
Hi.
I beg again. Just sometimes, if you dey talk with person, say computer go dey reply you. I want to ask you, should that person a computer be a woman being?
Which one?
That woman, we talk pakara.
No, not human being now.
I'm not sure.
Now, president advisor.
The program that thing. Make that robot talk.
Why you talk
I'm not sure it's a woman being they talk.
Why you talk
If a woman being, he go using common sense. The open man they talk. Common sense is not common in that woman. If na woman, no. But nobody say na woman. God bless you. Bye.
Okay. We have to be a bit respectful, We've got Niyo Mole in Lagos who says, it's really sad the level of arrogance our rulers and public officials have for citizens and the huge disconnect between their bubble and realities that the average Nigerian faces daily. In a supposed democracy, Hadiza Usman's comments were insensitive and vexing. It's not her fault. She can pay whatever amount for fuel and probably never bought fuel herself before. We have slave masters seemingly worse than the colonial masters in Nigeria today. Truth be told, Nigerians are paying for corruption and bad government all these years with the fuel subsidy removal, while those who profited from the opaque scam walk free with their loot. Ni Omole with that message there. All right, Ni, thanks for your message. We've got Coco Joe from Lusada Ota who says, we're always ahead of the government when it comes to using social media in Nigeria. Remember the Twitter ban? I have 6 Facebook accounts that I'm willing to dash CBN. I'm willing to dash them one of my dormant social media accounts. We move. All right, Coco Joe from Lusada. Thank you very much for your message. Adegoke in Lekki says, Sandra, the president's advisor just provoked my spirit with that talk. Does she think she's talking to children? The government is just toying with us at this point. I've always said it, that the fuel subsidy was a scam on its own. It's taking food from some and giving it to a few. They know that we are like toothless dogs that cannot bite, hence they come up with all sorts. Waiting, they pay me pass, be say some party loyals will still come and support all of this. Meanwhile, they too are suffering. Sandra, are they para or make you know just hold me? I don't go hold you, para with your full chest. I've got Ngozi joining me on the phone. Hi, Ngozi, where are you calling from?
Hi, Joyce. This is Ngozi calling from Michigan.
Ngozi from Michigan. Welcome. Talk to me.
Yeah. So it's so unfortunate say make a living yourself.
Okay.
It's so unfortunate say these people they look us like this. Waiting this woman talk. How will she open up her mouth and talk like that? How will she just open up and just vocalize like that as if Nigerians are not humans? Waiting. The suffering is so much and you need to really empathize with these people and talk to them in a respectable way. I tire for this APC government, so I tire. I don't know what else to say. These people are just so insensitive to Nigerians' pains. Thank you, thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right, Ngozi, thank you very much for joining from Michigan today. Let's bring you our second story. The central bank says banks must collect their customers' social media handles as part of KYC. The CBN just published a new set of due diligence regulations for all financial institutions it regulates, including banks. And under the new rules, here's what a bank must collect from an individual who has an account with them: legal name and any other names used, such as maiden name, permanent address, that's full physical address, residential address where the customer can be located, telephone number, email address, social media handle, date and place of birth, bank verification number, tax identification number, nationality, occupation, public position held, and name of employer. Most of these are already required when you are opening an account. The only thing that is new here is the social media handle. CBN says that the changes are to help improve compliance with the Terrorism Prevention Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and other rules. But some lawyers are pointing out that none of these laws empower the government to force citizens to reveal their social media handle. In fact, SERAP just responded to the CBN, and SERAP says, delete that social media handle requirement. It violates right to privacy. So yeah, this is going on. Like I said, lawyers are not having it. One of the provisions, by the way, of in the proposed social media bill was that people will provide their social media handles. That bill died, of course, but there's a question here about whether or not the CBN has the power to mandate banks to collect social media handles, or whether the banks or the CBN have the power to deny citizens the right to an account if they don't reveal their social media handles. Then there's also the question of necessity. Does the government really need to be able to know the social media handles of bank customers? Does this really help fight terrorism and money laundering? Because defenders of this policy say yes. They say that terrorists and financial criminals may reveal themselves on social media. So when the government links a social media handle to a financial crime or terrorism, they should be able to find that person's bank accounts and freeze that person's bank accounts. But critics of this policy say that it's going to be very easy to abuse and it's going to be very hard to enforce. And now you ask me, Sandra, what do you mean easy to abuse? I point you to NSAS. Remember how the CBN ordered banks to freeze the accounts of people who donated money to NSAS? That was illegal. The courts said so. The courts said the banks and the CBN did not follow due process there, especially since the protesters were not committing a crime. And of course, the CBN allegedly found the NSAS bank accounts on social media where they were being posted. So we have one serious example. We have precedent of the CBN using information from social media to violate the banking rights of Nigerians, violate the personal rights of Nigerians. The critics also say that this policy cannot be reliably enforced because, remember, many Nigerians do not have a social media handle. There are lots of Nigerians who are not on Twitter, not on Instagram, not on Facebook, not on TikTok. They are not anywhere. So does that mean that banks won't be allowed to serve those Nigerians? Of course not. So that means that banks must accept people who say, I don't have social media. And if that's the case, what is stopping other people from lying to the bank, even if they have social media handles? Or will the bank now make it like BVN? Oh, you must have social media handle before you can open a bank account. Is it necessary? That's the raging debate right now, this CBN policy. What do you think? Is it enforceable? Is it necessary? Will it be prone to abuse and right violations? For the lawyers, tell me if you think it's legal, this thing the CBN is trying to do. 0700993 WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 99.3. Hello? Hello? Hi.
Is this Sandra?
This is Sandra. What's your name, sir?
My name is Chris from Surulere.
Chris from Surulere, welcome. Talk to me.
Yes, I'm just interested about this social media handle and bank accounts. The truth about it is that I think it's because our government agencies work in silos. Everybody is his own cocoon.
Okay.
They've collected all this information. When you want to do driver's license, when you want to do international passport, when we did NIN, when we did BVN, if all those things haven't helped them, this is not going to help them. I think it is the social media bill being brought in through the back door. For instance, I, as social savvy as I am, I don't have a TikTok, I don't have Instagram, I don't have a Twitter account. The Facebook account I had, it was because I attended a conference and that was the only way we could easily communicate. That's why I opened it. I don't use it. So I'm not really sure what they want. But like somebody said, it might actually be a diversionary tactic. We have electricity tariff going up. We have unification of the dollar. We have fuel subsidy. So they just want to add this and dilute our collective efforts at getting them to do the right thing. So that's what I said I should just say.
Chris, thank you very much for calling to say it. 99.3. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for calling, sir. What's your name?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, you have Samuel on time.
Samuel, welcome. Talk to me.
Yeah. Number one, I would like to talk concerning the Adisa welfare. I think to me, without any sort of sentiments or whatever, I think she has said the right thing. That's just the reality I want an average Nigerian or each and every of us just to believe in. You see, this idea of, before the advent of this subsidy removal or whatever, we had like almost 130 million people living under abject poverty or whatever. And the question we need to ask ourselves is that if, of course, they have been buying fuel at the subsidized rate of 185, 145, and yet we have that kind of falling. Okay? So how has that one benefited? That's the question we need to ask. How has that one benefited that particular average Nigeria? And federal government is they have been giving excuse that, okay, fine, lots of about 70% of the revenue are going through this subsidy, inhibiting them from doing basic amenities that we need that could have, help in another way around. So why don't let us allow them? Let them try the system, and if it doesn't work before the end of the year, Nigeria can come on the road. So let's leave this sentiment of, people have been living in poverty before the advent of the removal of subsidy. So that's a fact. Then concerning this one, the only thing that is different is just about CBN. It's just about that social media, whatever. Every other thing they mentioned there, I've been given to them before.
We're talking about just the social media handle. We're not talking about the other things. We're focused on social media handles.
So, like the last caller has said, to me, it's just another diversionary plot, just to wage up people or even the customers. If they want to go after, the criminal element they are talking about, they know how to do about that. We have, my dear brother, a lot of people out there that they just open a bank account. They are not on social media. So if you want to deprive that, another level, whatever is coming to be. Let's wait and see.
All right. Thanks for calling. 99.3. Hello.
Sandra, good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Usas. Sandra, this I don't want to do us. Because there's one thing I keep talking about. In all of this, what is the guarantee that if they remove the money they're going to save from this subsidy, they are going to use the money judiciously. Are they not going to recover the money for the money they use the campaigning for us during election? Are they not going to embed? Is it not the same Nigerians that be ruling that are still there? So why suffering the people? When you remove the subsidy and say, okay, no more subsidy, you want to save money. Our government, I've told Madam Address in his program some time ago, we are the most laziest government in the world. We have resources that can feed this country that they need to tap. They need to tap everything. Nobody's supposed to be suffering in this country. They live on us out there. They are fighting oil, crude oil, petroleum, crude oil. But what happened to our rubber, our cocoa, See, Sandra, this country, he gave you hunger go reach. You see the woman that is talking? When she wants to buy fuel, she will take receipt and go and give to the government or put fuel in her car. Every of them that buy, she's talking about people that have 5 cars. How many cars did they drive? She's not talking about people. She didn't mention people that drive a VV8 that drive the convoy up and down. Maybe they take careful. People are angry. People are in pain.
Thank you for calling. Shareholder Festac says it's like the bad governance is continuing. All right. We've got Ralph in Satellite Town who says terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers use phones to demand ransom, which are paid to the bank. They cannot be traced. Now, how can social media handle help? Demanding for social media account details is a way that the ruling party is trying to use to silence opposition. All right. We've got this one here. On Hadiza Usman, we are not surprised. She was an SA to El Rufai when he was FCT minister. She was also an advisor to El Rufai when he was governor of Kaduna State. She was later MD of NPA. She was removed from office as a result of corruption charges by then Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, concerning about 165 billion naira unremitted to the Federation account. The forensic audit report of that investigation is still lying low. Same woman who ought to be cooling somewhere is now SA to the president. All right. Thanks for your message. You didn't leave your name, but thank you for sending us a message. We've got Ken in Surulere who says, it's unfortunate that we are in this situation. There's this Lexus LX 600 2023 model. It comes in 2 types. Non-bulletproof and bulletproof, and they cost 200 million and 400 million respectively. All our governors, new and old, bought the Lexus LX 600 bulletproof, which costs 400 million naira, and they keep telling us to tighten our belt. Meanwhile, they're loosening their own belt and telling us no money. I'm so surprised at Hadiza's comment. This was Hadiza that was the leader of Bring Back Our Girls, and since she got juicy appointments, she has become a complete tigress. It's unfortunate how those in government suddenly become insensitive to the plight of the masses. Ken from Surulere with that message. Thank you very much. We've got this one here from Obi in Festac. Obi says, Sandra, if they mandate me to have social media account before I can open an account, they have to buy phone for me as well. Abdul Wahab from Ikoton says, concerning the CBN social media handle, no problem. I'll just open new Facebook account and give it to them and move on. Continue my old account. I advise Nigerians to open a new account. Abdul Wahab from Ikoton. All right, Abdul Wahab. We've got this one here from Kings. Relay King says, Tinubu has acknowledged that the pronouncement on false subsidy removal was off script. So why are his advisors trying to defend the indefensible? Honestly, Nigerians cannot afford another 4 years of this. Well, he acknowledges that he went off script. Doesn't mean that he doesn't intend to end it. He just went off script. That's all. We've got Peter Ayorinde who says, I kept saying we are currently and historically punished for decisions taken in the 60s and 70s. Where are people who love God and humans? They traveled abroad, set up businesses and minded their businesses. Up till today, my extended family don't support me in politics, despite Prophet Daniel being my inspiration. Nigerians don't love Nigeria. When will the unions go on strike for Jokuta Steel, for plantation support programs, for solar and other renewable panels revolution, for full implementation of civil service reforms, for full implementation of petroleum industry bill, for civil education and health support? Our Nigerian groups and civil societies, except SERAP, are friends of Nigeria. Others are just holding their caps around the politicians' exit gates. We are in trouble, and the people still don't know it. Rather, they fight with tribes and religion. Nigerians, where are your brains? Peter Ayorinde with that message on WhatsApp. All right, still from WhatsApp, we've got Sam in Satellite. Sam says, Sandra, the word soon in Nigeria can mean different things to different people in Nigeria. If you hear soon from any public officer, it could mean next year. It could be until further notice. It could also mean everlasting. And above all, it could mean we'll all forget about it. Note also that those in government are in billions and trillions stolen from our common purse. So they can talk anyhow, because no matter what petrol costs or cost of living does, Hadiza Usman and the rest can never feel it or be bothered. Being an NPA former MD alone, she should be... I'm not sure what you wrote there, but Sam, thank you very much for your message. Okay. We've got this one here from Chief Udo. Chief Udo says, Sandra, the 9th Assembly senators called off their recess because insecurity was penetrating Abuja and they were afraid it will soon affect them. If NEC truly cares about our neck breaking, they would have called an emergency meeting. Mrs. Usman is not in tune with reality, and this government lacks empathy for the citizens. Anytime they call an emergency meeting, it's all about what is affecting them and not about what is affecting the masses. All right, Chief Udo. Thanks for your message. Comrade Godfrey says, I have always argued that this government and those who work for them are merely deceitfully and lazily using the country's porous borders and corrupt practices around the petroleum subsidy as an excuse to remove the only thing that benefits the poor masses, without knowing that they are indicting themselves of weakness and inability to tackle the corrupt people around the subsidy, as well as checkmating the smugglers of the petroleum products across the borders. And as for Hadiza, that claims that the policy had no effect on poor Nigerians, I don't know what to say. All right, Comrade Godfrey, thanks for your message. I'll take this final one from OVA and then we'll take a break. OVA says, Hadiza and her co-travelers are not trying. These people who have lived off Nigeria's patrimony feel entitled to their lifestyle, and everybody else can suffer. Such a tragedy. All right, OVA Binity with that message there. We'll take a break. When we come back from this break, Lagos, it will be time for our third story. Not to worry, we're going to stay on the stories from this weekend all the way until 4:45, when our guests from a real estate organization will join on the show. Oh, they're not joining anymore. Okay, great. So we're going to do this until 5 p.m. After the break, let's talk about the new cutoff mark for JAM. UTME JAM score is now 140. What do you think about that? And yes, we'll talk about our first and second story all the way until 5 o'clock. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. You're listening to Hard Facts. Don't go away, Lagos.
Lagos, good news! With one play, the prize money is now doubled! The total of 150,000 naira can now be won every single night. Yes, 5 people can now win 10,000 naira each, and 2 people can also win 50,000 naira each. Dial star 347 star 880 hash and play with now 200 naira. Oh yes, with 200 naira, it gives you more options to win more. And listen to the live draws on Wazobia FM with Expensive at 8:25 p.m. on Cool FM with Kimmy Smalls at 9:25 p.m. and Nigeria Info with Ada Blessing from 10:25 p.m. Remember, if the system picks your number, you win one of the cash prizes of the day. Simply dial star 347 star 880 hash with only 200 naira and